thing, Billund Builds Music, the whole idea started about a year ago when my colleagues from the LEGO Foundation talked to Chris Rogers of the CEO.
The LEGO Foundation approached me with the idea of could we do something with music and science and engineering education in the schools. So we pulled together this idea of schools that were interested would devote a week to actually try and design, build, compose for, and perform on musical instruments that the students all design.
So we work together, all of us, to try to fulfill the vision about getting every student in Billund to be like creative, long life learners. We have more than 4,000 children participating in building for a whole week.
I think all in all there's something like 26,000 inhabitants here, and out of these 5,000 are children. Then came along the idea that Billund is the capital of children, so a whole lot of projects have been supporting that vision that Billund is a place where children and the education system can experiment. So what happens when you play? Do you just play or do you actually learn something while you play, and what are the things you learn?
I think music appeals to like everyone, and there's a lot of science going on when you make music. Like why is this sound like a deep sound or a high note, or if you put string and you put water in a bottle and you put more water in a bottle, it makes a different sound. So I think there's a lot of learning going on.
This is about group work, it's about problem solving skills, it's about developing your social skills, all these things, and then it's about learning this engineering method that we're working closely together with Tuft on.
Give you 10 seconds more.
Ja, 10 sekunder mere.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop! Hey, hands up, hands up. Right now, they are working on their spaghetti towers. It's part of an introduction to the engineering design process. So we have them brainstorm in groups about how they would solve a problem. It doesn't matter what problem, any problem. And then as a group, we decide on a process that we all agree on. And then they use it to solve the problem of spaghetti tower. Talk about how you could have used the engineering design process. And if you didn't use it, why didn't you use it? And how would you do it differently next time?
Hvis der nu er et problem, så skal vi først finde ud af det. Making a triangle instead of a square and closer. So it will be taller, and instead of one spaghetti for the marshmallow, we will use two. Because then it will be more stable.
As they're making things, they're learning how to approach problems in a creative way and really think about solutions and be engineers. So by leaving it open and letting kids really play and explore and figure things out, they're learning how to approach problems.
I feel that this really allows them to break out of the traditional designed instrument. They can bring the materials together to create more unique and personalized instruments. And they use contact microphones to explore these. Instead of picking up vibrations through the air, it picks up vibrations through solid objects.
We can hear them discuss things from science or things from social studies or things from math, because a lot of this stuff is coming up through their interests in the projects that they're choosing, which is really more realistic and more meaningful to them because they're driving the process.
They're learning to see the problems and find out how to solve them. I'm a Danish teacher, and I hope I can transfer some of this to my Danish class, because this is very much about science and engineering, and how about putting both the science and the engineering part into a Danish class.
A kindergarten here, this word refers to 3 to 6-year-olds, and this is before they go to school. I've been learning that with mostly just a lot of open-ended free play and building, there's still a lot of problem solving.
Music and sound translates cross language because they were listening to the different strings and like how it made different noises, the different bands. When there's a hollowed out hole, does it make a different noise than when it's just flat over here? And how can we have your instrument make more than one noise?
Lidt forskelligt med nogle af dem.
Ready?
Forskelligt, she said it sounds different.
Oh, so you made different noises.
She thinks it's because they're in different.
Oh, because one's up high and it has a short distance and one's stretched all the way over this part. That might change the way it sounds. That's a good guess. Sit up here. They were caring about the sound piece and not just the aesthetic piece.
There were 3 bands in the classroom. And assigned one band a happy song, one a sad song, one a scary song. So they had to try and figure out how to use their instruments to evoke that feeling. And this is the first time they haven't been, just sort of one sound and then they're done. We tried to talk about the science of music, and it's just such an abstract concept that their language is just a barrier to talk about it, because I kept, trying to do it. They're like, oh, you just pluck the string. I'm like, yes, but how does it get to my ear? And they're like, you pluck the string.
My take on the 8th and 9th graders is that they needed more direction, so that's why I would have loved for you guys to actually give your workshops to them. So one of the neatest mistakes we made was offering these workshops. We came up with a list of 5 different workshops, one taught by a local Danish teacher and the other 4 taught by Tufts people.
Samarbejde og kreativitet. Vi har lavet musik ud af
It got teachers thinking about asking questions about the music, about the science, and it came in at times when some schools, their interest might be starting to wane. The idea came out of the group that is putting apps in different classrooms and having kids compose.
We had them go and create in an open environment, just a full sandbox, just like a blank sheet of paper, and they can kind of go in, create their own notes.
Ja, så skal vi så finde noget herude. Skal vi have en...
And then you can start to add your own other instruments.
Let's see if we can use a friend.
This time we checked what happens if we have them play these 4 quests, these like self-guided lessons that we have, and see the music that they create after that. And the music that they created after the 4 self-guided quests was like 20% better than, yeah, exactly.
So we started playing with ideas about sound yesterday, and it's interesting, right, because it's not necessarily the culture of the classroom to talk about science in these ways. So like, how does that sound get to your ear? Having them draw it, talk with a partner about it, and then share out. Hard to do in English and really hard to facilitate in Danish. Some kids had ideas that square cutouts and guitars would make a different sound than round cutouts, and so the making had so much purpose for them, and then that ability to have that discussion about sound with their own artifacts was really cool.
Something I call stereo pipe. It's pipes, and then you can punch it, and then the air is going all the way down and making a sound.
Funny sounds. Funny sound.
And then I've made some paper where I can see my notes, what I'm gonna play.
They're gonna do a performance, and so they're starting to form little groups and think about what makes a performance, what a composition is, how you keep all 4 people playing together at the same time, what makes for an interesting song.
Igen, stopper du, stopper Lund, stopper jeg, og så kan I spille.
I'm from Aarhus University. I took notes about how they're feeling, what they're saying, translating the stuff of the videos, so what might happen. We had the workshop with Matt, or I had a workshop with Matt together with some of the children, and that was very cool. So I think if they had the workshop in the morning, they would have been composing for the rest of the day, really getting into it.
So my workshop is about music appreciation. We try to analyze how the rhythm, the melody, and the harmony in the music helps it be organized. Feel the difference in a 4 rhythm and a 3 rhythm.
Kind of count along to 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to teach you all how to dance the waltz. Okay, is everyone ready?
Drenge, så kan det, når I bliver gift.
Okay.
You're not a dream, you're not an angel, you're a woman.
And then we talk about the feelings of music. Why do we feel happy when we listen to some songs and sad when we listen to other songs? And then I ask kids to make their own songs that kind of tell a story and change emotions throughout.
By the last class I said, pick 2 emotions, change the speed, change the volume, and tell the story of the emotions through the song. And I kind of posed the idea of a song as just an order of sounds. As you finish building your instruments, think about sounds that you want to hear. If you want your final song to be really happy, think of happy songs and how you could add that to your instrument. Okay. Well, thank you again, and I hope you keep having fun and you write your last songs as the best songs ever.
Thank you, man.
I hope that what they'll take away is that they can start driving their own learning. What questions did they have when they were making the instrument? How did they get answers to the questions? Why did their instrument work? Did they think about changing their design so that their instrument changed its pitch? We saw a lot of evidence of kids playing with different sized drums, of different length pipes, of different tension strings, and starting to realize that those made different notes. So the sort of beginnings of scientific thinking about musical instruments. There's a lot of the beginnings of sort of engineering thinking too, of those who wanted a certain scale and how would they develop an instrument that would play that particular scale. All happening at the last minute, things totally changing, very responsive to what was actually happening in the schools, and as a result I think was far more successful than if we had planned out a set curriculum and moved it into all the classrooms.